You're playing second difficulty or the third difficulty, and you're playing early game, chapter 2 or chapter 3 like me, and you're struggling fighting world bosses or Justice League story bosses because they're quite tough. I won't spoil you who they are because it's quite a big story spoiler, but still they're really quite tough, especially on the third difficulty. So you need better gear, and one of the best ways to get better gear early game and even mid game is to farm tanks. So tanks are, who are these tanks? They are quite tanky, quite obvious, right? World bosses you can find around Metropolis, and they are tanks. And you can find them around these big rods. I'm showing you right now the way. And they're spawning quite often, so just follow my path and you will find them. So here, above these big rods and below these big rods, you can find these tanks. So there are two mechanics you need to know before you fight in these tanks. First mechanic, they're shooting you with a purple blast, they're dealing quite a big amount of damage, so just avoid it and dodge it. And don't take it in your face because it's dealing quite a big amount of damage. It can 2 shots or 3 shots you if you're standing in front of it. So second mechanic, you are dealing damage to them only if you are hitting their purple crit zones. If you are hitting their body, you are dealing completely 0 damage. So avoid the purple blast and shoot their purple crit zones. So let me show you. So we destroyed it. And here is our loot. Almost every time you destroy tank you got some loot, but sometimes sometimes something like 1 time out of 3 you get no loot. It's okay, just find another tank and destroy it. And previous tank I've destroyed, I've got this shield mod, right response rare shield mod, and it's quite helpful, especially if you are farming world bosses or mini bosses around the world. So let me show you my previous shield I've got, so you can see the difference, right? It's quite helpful, especially if you are free roaming and farming world bosses. And even sometimes you can get really nice gear, even sometimes very seldom, but still you can get legendaries, and you got really nice stuff, really nice weapons. For example, you can get melee weapons that, for example, for Harley Quinn, giving additional bleed damage, and especially in combination with your passive skills. For example, like with Lever Mark, that's giving you bleed damage with 100% from every melee hit. You got very nice synergy from this weapon with bleed damage and this passive Lever Mark from your skill tree. So yeah, even early game and mid game you can make quite nice builds that's working quite nice, just farming these tanks. Another way to get gear is farming in other vehicles, and also you can find around the whole map, you can find helicopters, but they're spawning quite rare. You can hardly find any helicopter in the world, and their spawn are quite rare. So I suggest you're not looking for these helicopters. Just if you find any, it's nice, just destroy it, get some loot, but better focus on farming tanks, because in my 4 hours free roam I only found something like maybe 7 helicopters, something like that, and at least for me their spawn are quite rare, so I suggest you focusing on farming tanks. So you get gear from farming tanks, but also you get really nice XP from farming tanks. Every tank give you quite nice amount of XP to level up your character.
How would you like for me to change your mind today, Miss Quinn?
But also during the second chapter just right before the quest write and or die, you will unlock this character called the
It's
Hack.
not gonna upgrade itself. At least, not yet.
You can see this character at the right side of my screen. So you will unlock her contracts, her daily quests, and don't ignore it because it's also giving you materials to level up, to upgrade your weapons, and also some of your contracts, daily contracts, they're giving you quite big amounts of XP, so you can very fast level up your character, especially early game and even mid game, as I told you already. So as I already told you, just farm these tanks to get gear, farm helicopters if you are lucky enough to get some, and don't forget about these daily quests from Hack, because they're giving you quite nice amounts of materials and XP. And good luck!